We all know how dark and dangerous Decepticons are, right? Right? We're kind of in agreement there. But what really can you say about a bot who is considered the craziest of the crazy? I mean, we all know the only reason Megatron hangs on to him is because he's a powerful fighter, but you have to wonder how he stayed so high up in the Decepticon chain of command, despite the fact that most of the time he can't get out a coherent sentence because he's constantly arguing with himself. So, after that surprisingly short character bio, here's Blitzwing in his jet mode. No, the cockpit cannot open, and it is not clear. Nice enough detail for an animated figure. The problem, which you'll see in his next mode, and even during this transformation, is that there's a lot of exposed areas. It's not a very solid mode here. Actually, this is perhaps the least solid of the three modes. Things don't really hold in place. There's the feet are pegged into one little peg right there, and that's the only thing that holds these in place. There's nothing else. So it's just waiting to pop off. It's very unstable. A bit like all three of his personalities, but anyways, you know, these are supposed to be down, but they're always sitting up. These are real loose. This is real loose. And those don't really look like jet engines because, well, they're not really attached to anything that looks like an intake or blah, 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 blah. Perhaps I should be saving all of this for the commentary, huh? So that is Blitzwing in his jet mode. Jet mode is perhaps my least favorite of the three modes because it's so unstable. The only thing holding this in place is a little peg that sits there, and that's it. Once you loosen that, because you have to in order to get into tank mode, pretty much the whole thing goes to hell. See, you know, I was just kind of casually holding it, and it just comes completely loose. The nose here, completely, the only thing, it's held up there completely by friction, so you have to hold the head down, and then you flip this under. Some other easy stuff. Now here's something. I'll get to it. The reason that you turn the I'll show you. The reason that you turn the barrels around, and you'll see why in a moment here, is because you see the triggers don't have any space in the holes right there. So if you have it down like that, it won't lock into place. So that's why in jet mode you have to turn those around like that. And now I'll show you. Well, why would you want to turn around? Here, I'll show you. Open this up. The ankles are some of the tightest joints on this toy. Not that they need to be, of course. Here's the thing I don't like. These two panels here have to slip past his wrists. And the problem is it's just tight enough in there you can't do it. So you have to force it past, which is not very cool. Pick that in there. Another solid connection. Now you want to pull these out. Flip them 180. I mean, it'll fit. They'll fit like this, but the problem is those triggers will push up against the feet, and you need that connection to be as solid as possible. Unfortunately, it's not very solid at all, so... And again, that you have to push up on this section at the same time you push down on this, which basically loosens everything in here. And you fit these together. They don't peg together, they just sit there. Of course, because the feet peg into these pegs right here, which is usually on the other side, the shreds have lost complete stability now. So they're always going to be loose, which means that tank mode is never going to rest on the ground solidly. Not much going for tank mode either. Like I said, these are really loose and kind of dependent on that to roll about on the four wheels. So here's one. And then it's actually the other wheel is right here on the side of the joint. See? Which I actually kind of like that, but it's totally blown by the different colors they have there. That's his knee right there, by the way. Anyways, these are real loose, but everything else is more or less solid. Turret can turn side to side. And then you can put these rather nice projectiles they came up with. Let's see, find the focus. There it is. Put these projectiles in there. And that's it. Unfortunately, the rest of it is just a mass of kibble. There's no real solidity to this mode. I mean, it's tank mode. It's supposed to have thick armor. But it's actually kind of going for the... It's kind of like it was a predecessor to Bayformers, you know. It has a bunch of different panels, and there's a lot of weird angles on it and things like that, despite the fact that it came from animated. So that is his tank mode. The little bit of stability he has between the two alt modes goes out the window when you start talking about robot mode. Again, knees, or rather ankles, tightest joint in the whole toy. And we're just going to pull this out. And here's the thing, you have to loosen that. Well, no, let's see. First you have to do this, then loosen this, then you have to pull this apart. Really? It usually just pops right apart, but not this time. Anyways, it goes there. A lot of people don't like... Let's see, how can I show this? Like that. Open up the hand a little. And then this folds back. And the wing stays out. So that the wing actually stays attached behind the upper arm. Again, pull this out. Flip this back. Flip the head up and around. Snaps into place. Yeah. And there you have Blitzwing in his robot mode. Like most triple changers, Blitzwing just kind of takes something from one place over here and sticks it somewhere else. So most of the stuff you've already seen, except for the torso and the arms. Nice detail on the treads. A lot of exposed stuff back here. A lot of people complain, and I'm among them, except for his backpack, these things are really, really loose. They never hold in position. You would think that it would shift over, snap, and then hold, but no, it's constantly falling. Same thing with the other side. That's one of the big complaints I've heard from trans fans, and even non-trans fans. Articulation, for the most part, works. Those arms can't get much further out than that. But anyways, double jointed elbow, that's always fun. His wrists, that's just due to transformation. They don't turn side to side. And it's really contrary to his character. He has open palm hands. You know, he needs fists. But he can't hang on to any weapons. Legs are standard ratcheting affair, except for the knee. And you've also got a bit of posability in the ankles. Oh, and you can also plug the missiles in on top. The problem is, unlike what you see in the series, the turret is designed to fold back, not forward over his shoulders like it is in the series. So, yeah, if you want to fire the turret, you have to bend him down like this, and then he can shoot it off. But, you know, who wants to do that with a Transformer in this day and age? He needs shoulder-mounted cannons, you know? And again, so many things are loose in here, and the only things that ratchet, really, are his hips. That's it. That's literally the only thing that ratchets on the whole toy is his hips. Forward, backwards, sideways. And that's it. Everything else is real loose. And that's it for robot mode. Aside from the projectile launchers on his back, Blitzwing's primary gimmick is activated by this cog right here, which is absolutely and completely useless because it's so damn tight, it's so damn small, and nobody can get to it. He's like, you can try and turn that thing all you want to, that thing is not happening. Oh yeah, and his head is really loose too, because it doesn't snap into place. You know, just do it by hand. Anyways, his face here, see, how do I do this without keeping my finger in the way? I can't, because it's a small detail. So just imagine me trying to turn the head side to side. There you have, what is it, Brutal Blitzwing. And then you've got Crazy Blitzwing. He's pretty much crazy because he's got 3 personalities in him. And then you have the Ice Cold and Calculating Commander version. So you've got 3 personalities in one. So that is the reason why it's so difficult to describe this character, is because he has 3 personalities and 3 faces to match. But everybody seems to keep him this way in Icy Blitzwing mode. I must apologize to the CDXers and YouTubers out there who have gotten used to me doing a certain style, a certain quality of video review. And I must openly admit that when I review a toy that I don't like, it's difficult for me to maintain the energy necessary to put out a good quality product. So that's perhaps a flaw that my boss needs to talk to me about a little more. And perhaps I should have done this on another day, but I've put off this review for 3 years. 3 years this has been sitting on my shelf collecting dust. It is so... There's so much that goes wrong with this toy. I've already told you in previous video reviews that trademark Transformers triple changers, or quad changers as the case may be, are not very engaging for me. It sounds interesting, but the way they come up with their different modes and how things shift around, and they're supposed to serve double duty, not just robot mode, but they also have to work in this mode, and they have to work in this mode, which looks nothing like the other mode. Oftentimes it's just not compelling enough for me to get one. Now, the only reason I got Blitzwing is because I like the character, and I had heard the complaints and the moaning and groaning from other reviewers and collectors across the net for about a year before I got this guy. But I said to myself, can it really be that bad? I mean, this is a Transformers animated product which has had a stellar record. There's usually one small thing, one minor thing that's wrong with each and every one of them, but their screen accuracy was always incredible. Things held together really well. Each one of them had a gimmick that was interesting unto itself, and you had a wide variety of characters to choose from, whether you like this one or not. And so it's like, you know, okay, maybe Blitzwing probably has his flaw. Well, yeah, the flaw is the whole system that puts him together. Even though he's kind of folds into a fetal position with his arms behind his back when he's in jet and tank mode, the flaw that exists in this toy is that it doesn't hold together very well in any of the 3 modes. I consider tank mode to be the most stable of the 3, and that's not saying very much, considering those tank treads are just wobbly all over the place, so you can't even get him to roll decently on the ground. And then he has the triple changer flaw, where things that work well in one mode don't necessarily work well in the alternate mode. But the problem is that he can't hide his alt mode kibble well enough for me to enjoy the 2 modes that he has. And while the spinning face gimmick is interesting and I like it, it's just executed very badly. That cog does you no good in back. Turning his face manually is just the best you can do. There's one thing that's puzzled a lot of people about Blitzwing. What are these for? What do those do? You know, what's happening there? It doesn't do anything in any of the modes. Well, that's not necessarily true. You see, a lot of people thought that it was the pop-out blasters, like it was on animated Starscream here. Another toy I'm not entirely thrilled with, by the way. They thought that, you know, for Blitzwing it was, you know, the pop-out blasters thing. You know, why were those panels in there? Whoa, it fell apart. You know, a lot of people thought it was that. Or that it might be some kind of hidden gimmick such as that. But no, this actually serves a much finer purpose. You see, when you... I'm completely destroying the pose, by the way. How do I describe this? When you get the when you put him back into tank mode, find the focus, there you go. The reason this panel is here is so that it'll fit under there. That's the whole reason why that panel's there, so that they'll sink down. Now, unfortunately, I wish they'd have put a peg or a tab or something in there, because that thing only serves one purpose, is just to push that back up when it's in jet mode. So it's kind of a flawed, yet another flaw in the Voyager-class Blitzwing design. I'm not even going to try and make him do a handstand again. So, yeah. Animated Blitzwing, not that great. It's full of flaws, and it's just, it almost feels bootleg quality. Like, the types of plastics that they use are good enough. I like how the, wow. I like how his Tank Commander face is kind of similar. Did I do that wrong? No, I didn't. His Tank Commander's helmet, he looks like a Nazi Germany tank commander, something like that. He's got ammo clips here. He's got these. He's got knee-high boots. He's got elbow-length black gloves. He's got the what was it, the sand protection goggles up here. This flowy thing back here. And he kind of looks like a German tank commander, is how I've always thought of him. And he certainly has an unusual exit in brutal mode. Let's see, brutal mode. Which one's that? That one is... By the way, these faces don't turn very well, even if the cog couldn't turn very well. Brutal, angry Blitzwing here, whose face looks rather reminiscent of the G1 toy. That's probably the one with the biggest German accent or something like that. And don't think me racist or anything, because, hey, I've got a little bit of German in me. Actually, I've got quite a bit of German in me, but I can't speak a lick of the language, so do not ask. But anyways, yeah, he's a triple-changing, crazy German desert tank commander. Which, I mean, for his personality, that works, but for the toy, not so much. Honestly, if I ever got a chance to get a larger version of the G1 Blitzwing, like a bootleg, I've got a standard-sized bootleg Blitzwing. Try saying that 5 times fast. But I wish, if they made a larger version of that, I'd probably go for that version over this. Seriously, this is not a good toy. I don't say this very often because I don't buy toys that I don't already like. That's just not my character. I can use the shelf space for something else. So when I say that a toy is bad, you can tell because my video reviews start sucking. I put off reviewing this guy for 3 years. You know what? I can finally put this thing to bed. I am done with this thing. It's over. I can put it out of my mind at last. Do not buy Voyager-class Decepticon Blitzwing. It's just not worth it. This is AV Unit 4A for CollectionDX.com, signing off.